this build broke Armored Core for me. Let me explain. The Armored Core build I have made is absolutely ridiculous. I'll be honest, it has beaten everything. I've beaten every single boss, every single Armored Core, every single arena mission, all of it with this one core. I even beat the #1 arena challenge in under 20 seconds 3 times in a row with this build. I promise you, this build will not fail you, and you should definitely try it out for yourself, because it made everything so easy, like so much easier. And yeah, let's hop right into it. Also forgot to mention that I went into the PvP with it last night and absolutely shredded everything. The Gatling guns are what I use on my left and right hand. So these guns offer high ammo capacity with a lot of damage. Now you need to watch the overheat, because the overheat takes a while, but if you get good at like making sure the Gatling guns don't overheat, then these guns are insanely powerful. Now, these guns seem to be the best when there's an enemy who's staggered. When you get close to an enemy who's staggered and just beam them with the Gatling guns, these guns seem like they do so much more damage and will give you at least 2,000 damage off of that stagger, like for sure. Just because they're that good at doing that much damage when they're staggered. Something else about the Gatling guns is they're not too heavy, so you can put them on like a lightweight arms build and they won't overload the arms. Now for my right shoulder cannon, I run the stun needle launcher. Now this needle launcher in particular does a lot of damage to shielded targets. So when you have an enemy in PvE who has a shield up, when you hit them with this shoulder cannon, it seems to do a lot more damage than any other shoulder cannon would to that shield. As well as it seems to do more damage to the shield than it would do to health, which is something interesting that I found. Now, something I run as my left shoulder cannon, it's really heavy, but it's the grenade cannon Songbirds. This launches 2 grenades out of the cannon, and it does a lot of stagger damage. So you can almost fully stagger someone with this shoulder cannon by itself. So my favorite thing to do is to shoot them with the stun needle launcher, because it's a bit of a higher velocity shoulder cannon, and that will stun them for a second. I can then hit them with the double grenade cannon, the Songbirds, and they'll get staggered. I can then override boost into them with my Gatling guns and do a really solid amount of damage off of that. Before beating New Game Plus, the helmet I was using was the VP44S. I found this helmet to be really good at what I wanted it to do. But then I found, like, after beating New Game Plus, I gained the IBCO3H HAL 826, and this helmet's almost statistically better in every possible way. So it's just a better helmet overall. I've tried it out a bit, and it just feels good. It has really good attitude stability, really good system recovery. It feels like a way better helmet and made the build kind of complete. So this is definitely the helmet you want to use. The thing about this helmet is it is very hard to get. You have to go a specific route for the story mission to get this helmet. But if you can't get that helmet or don't have it available to you yet, feel free to use the VP44S or the VP44D. Both are really, really good options that work still great on this build. It's just that the other one's better, but it's hard to get. So use these helmets if you don't have that helmet unlocked for you yet. But once you get that helmet, it is a much better helmet to substitute onto this build. I really like the 0761 Mind Alpha for my core. It has a lot of health, it's generally light, its energy load isn't too high, its defensive performance is really good, and it keeps me mobile. Like, it's a good, overall, good core. It just does kind of a bit of everything and keeps you really balanced. Now, I wanted to take a much more lightweight approach at my arms, so I chose the IACO1A ephemera arms. The reason I chose these is because the Gatling guns, they're not too heavy on the arms, So I was able to choose something with a bit of a lower arms load limit and was able to get more mobility out of it. So these have good energy capacity, like it helps the supply efficiency, it helps all that stuff. It's way lighter, really low energy load, and it has 104 firearm specialization and 106 melee specialization. So these arms are very well balanced, well rounded, and help me stay mobile and while still carrying 2 really good weapons. Now this is the thing that makes the whole build come together. The RC2000 spring chicken legs are the best. The reasoning behind this is, 1, they're heavyweight, so this gives me a lot of health. 2, they're heavyweight, so this allows me to carry huge shoulder cannons like the ones I'm carrying right now that are really heavy, and still be able to be mobile, which is my third point. I'm fast, I'm mobile, and I can jump higher. So what I can do, because I jump higher, is I don't have to fly up to get above anyone. I can jump, which allows me to reserve my energy bar for when I need the quick boost out of the way of a big attack, which just gives me much more energy efficiency with how I'm using my energy, which gives me higher energy bar like way more often. I use the IACO1B Gills booster. Now these have really good thrust, a really good quick boost reload time, a low energy consumption on your override boost, really good boost speed, while also increasing my total load limit and decreasing my total load, which allows me to actually be able to use a booster. So this booster is a really good booster, and it is low load, and it makes your limit higher. Now we can move on to the FCS. So the FCS I like to use has really good close range assist. So for this, I found that targets that are moving really quickly around me, like the final boss I posted about yesterday, or the second last boss in the game, they both move really quickly, and this seems to track them and turn my core around for me when they're like teleporting behind me or dashing around behind me, and that's something I actually really like. So I use this FCS because of that I can track those really high speed enemies when they're moving around in circles around me, basically. I use the VE20C generator. Now this generator gives me a large capacity and good recharge, while also keeping me quick and not having too much of a load. Because one thing I struggled with all the generators was the fact that the current energy load would get too high and I wouldn't be able to use them, or the current load would get too high and I wouldn't be able to use them. So that was quite an issue. But this generator is really good, has a big capacity and not too high of a load for each, so I was able to use it without having to worry about any of that stuff. Another thing that I added to this build that I felt was almost necessary was the expansion of the terminal armor. Now this, when you get to 1 HP, deploys a bubble around you for 2 seconds and will hold a 20,000 health shield around you. Now this was very helpful for really difficult boss fights where I've escaped on 1 HP a couple times, so you want to be using this expansion for sure. There we have the overpowered build that's destroyed everything. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if there's a certain type of build, like a lightweight build maybe, that you would like me to try to build and make it really good. And let me know if there's anything you would change on this build. And other than that, I'm gonna have some PvP clips at the end of the video. I hope you enjoy, and yeah, try it out for yourself because I promise it makes life easier.
30